Well, hello everyone. I am really excited that you guys have joined us for this interview today. I'm really excited because I have Kelly Westover here, and she is going to talk about a really fun career option. I have known Kelly for a super long time, and she has always been my fancy hairdresser. And she actually just moved, and so I kind of miss that. It's hard to fill her shoes. But I am so happy that she's taken just a couple minutes to chat with us today so we can just learn a little bit more about this industry. So, Kelly, just tell us a little bit about this career and how you kind of got involved with it.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. This is my first experience with anything like this before, so it's kind of exciting, I guess. I'm glad I'm your guinea pig here. Um, well, I have been a cosmetologist now for, like over 25 plus years. I actually, this was all I ever wanted to do. I was always so excited to learn how to do hair, mainly because when I was growing up, my mom didn't know how to do hair. And I always had like the worst hair of everybody. And so when I was probably, I don't know, like 12 or 13 or 14, I would actually go with her to the beauty salon and watch the lady who did her hair do her hair. And I always was so like impressed and like always wanted. I asked her a lot of questions all the time. And anyway, this lady kind of took me under her wing. Her name was Juanita. She was just the sweetest little lady. And she took me under her little wing, and she kind of like encouraged me. She hired me when I was like 14 to come every week and clean her hair salon. And so at my first job ever was cleaning a hair salon when I was like 13 or 14. And I would do it every Saturday after she closed. And I would get to play with the perm rods, and she had a mannequin head there, and I'd play with that. And so it just was something that I'd always been interested in. And then I graduated. I mean, when I went to high school, I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do. I didn't prepare any kind of other education at all. Like you have to take your SAT and your ACT tests. Well, with beauty school, you don't have to take those. So I never took them. And
So jealous.
yeah, I never had that stress. And anyway, after I graduated from high school, I decided to kind of look into it and decided I wanted to go to beauty school. So that's kind of the story, my background of why I wanted to do this.
Perfect. So, for people that don't know much about this industry at all, do you know a little bit about the education? Like, how long is most beauty schools? How many options are there out there? Are there some that you have heard of that are better than others? Like, what's the best way to go about this?
So, if you're interested in going into cosmetology, if you like to do hair, nails, makeup, anything like that, it's a great path to follow. As far as schools go, every state is different. Every state requires different hours. And so within Idaho, you have to have 2,000 hours in order to complete your education and graduate from beauty school. I know that there's several schools up there. I know Paul Mitchell is still there. Um, I think there's a school in Nampa still called Razzle Dazzle that's been there for years and years and years. Oliver Finley is up there. There's quite a few options now. When I was going to school, there was like three options. There was a place down on Broadway. There was Meridian School of Beauty that I graduated from, which is no longer there. And then there's the place in Nampa. So there was just those three opportunities. I started in April. I think I started the 1st of April and I graduated the end of April. So it took me, as long as I was going to school, they were closed on Monday, so we went to school Tuesday through Saturday. And as long as I went the full time, it took me just a little bit over a year to graduate.
Okay, perfect. And you learn all three things then. You learn about hair, you learn about nails, and then you learn about makeup.
You learn about everything. So you have a theory class that we start out with. And schools have changed over the years, but they still have to do a theory. I actually had to learn all the nerves, the bones, everything in the face, the hands, and the head. I think in the feet too, because you do pedicures. We learned everything. So I had to have specific requirements. Like I had to do so many pedicures, so many facials. I've learned how to a lot of esthetician stuff. I know that they do have programs now where you can just go and just be an esthetician, or you can go and just be a nail tech, or you can go and just be a barber. Barber is different than cosmetology. So cosmetology, that 2,000 hours covers like the whole spectrum of it.
Okay, perfect. And then I know that right from the get-go, based on the story you told, that you knew that hair was kind of your focus. After going to school, were you sure like you didn't want to work on nails, you didn't want to do the makeup portion, or have you dabbled in a little bit of all of it over the years?
So the school I went to really did not focus much on makeup, which was kind of like, I was really bummed because I love makeup. But over the years, I've learned, I picked up techniques and stuff for makeup. When I graduated from school, one thing I did know is I did not want to work for a chain salon. I did not want to work for like a Supercuts or a Fantastic Sam's. I wanted to push myself harder than that. And so I was really lucky to be offered a job at a salon down in kind of almost close to downtown Boise off of State Street called Mirror Image. And these ladies like took me under their wing and kind of taught me a little bit more. There, I did do cuts and color, and actually I was their only nail tech for a while. So I did do nails out of school. And then after I worked for them for a while, I transferred to a different salon where I leased my station instead of making commission. I made commission on my sales at Mirror Image. And then I switched to a different salon and I leased a station, and I continue to do hair, colors, cuts, perms, that kind of thing. And I also did nails there too.
Perfect. So at what point did you transition to having a salon in your home?
So I knew that when I started to have kids, I wanted to be able to be home with my kids. And I love how flexible it can be. Now, the laws in Idaho are very, very strict about having an in-home salon. You have to follow certain guidelines in order to be able to do that. So you can't just cut hair out of your kitchen sink, or do hair, which I never ever would want to do anyway. But I transitioned probably, so after I worked in those two salons for a while, we actually ended up moving to Utah, and Utah had at that time had different requirements, and they would not transfer my license. I would have had to go and take state boards all over again. And so I chose to pursue another career in a different field. I actually worked in banking for a while, and it was not my favorite. When we moved back to Idaho, it just kind of happened when we moved into your neighborhood. We had an opportunity there to build our house, and I was able to build my salon in my home. And that's when I started doing hair again, because I could stay home with my kids. And it was so important to me to be able to be there with my kids, work my own hours, and have that flexibility I needed.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And I know for you especially, you've been there for not just your kids, but there's been a lot of your family members that have needed you throughout the years, and it has provided you with the flexibility to be there when they needed you most. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. It was great.
Perfect. So kind of tell me, I kind of get the vibe that you just love everything about what you do, but there's got to be something that you don't love. Is there a specific like treatment, or I don't even know the correct verbiage of when you're meeting with clients and helping them? Is there something that you don't love?
You know what? Honestly, the only thing about cosmetology, I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting over a cold, and so I'm like kind of dry. The only thing I don't like about cosmetology is I do not like to do pedicures. I don't like feet. I will not That is the one thing. As far as everything else, I love everything else about it. I love helping people if they have issues with their scalp or their skin condition. I love color. Color is like my favorite thing ever. I love to do coloring. So I being down in Utah now, everybody down here has hair weaves.
Oh, really?
Everybody does. And so I've done those before. They're not my favorite, but because the clientele down here, there's so many of them that want them, and I might possibly pursue that again.
Right.
It's not really a favorite thing of mine, but I know how to do them. So
Perfect. So when you first built your house in Idaho and you got your little home salon built out, how hard was it to actually start getting that clientele base and getting that business going for yourself?
Well, back then there wasn't like all this social media like there is now. And
Right.
so a lot of it is just word of mouth. I mean, I did a lot of advertising with my clients. I would, every client that sat in my chair, I said to them, for every 2 people you send me or refer to me, I will give you a haircut, a free haircut. Sometimes I did promos like, shampoo is on sale for like the liter duos instead of, it being $40 your cost. I'll give it to you, every 2 people, I'll give you the shampoo and conditioner. And so over time, it actually, when I started working at my home in Idaho, I really just wanted it to be a part-time thing.
Right.
And especially with my kids being little. And
Right.
over time, I got to build up a lot of friendships and it just kind of happened. My kids got older. They started being a little bit more independent, and my schedule started to open up a little bit more. And so I was able to, build more of a clientele that way. And honestly, it was just word of mouth. A lot of it was.
Yeah. I think the nice thing about the way it happened for you too is that since you got it started when the kids were little, you didn't want to work a ton at that point. And so by the time it really kind of picked up and you were super busy, it was at a perfect time in your life because they were older and, even maybe leaving the house and more independent. So that worked out great. But thinking back, like if there's a girl watching this that is like, I really want to do this, but I wonder how long it's going to take me to get to where I'm at a point where I can be making enough money on a part-time basis that I don't feel like I have to like go out and get a different job. So do you think it was like a year transition? Do you think it was a 2-year transition to where you had a pretty steady part-time clientele?
You know what? It just honestly depends. It really depends. I'm very passionate about my career, and I think people see that and they can feel that from me. I love what I do. I have been to hairstylists that, I felt like, why am I even here kind of thing.
Right.
So I think one of the biggest things with any field and any career is if you really love what you do, that's contagious. And people they want to come back to you, and they will refer their friends. So, it was so long ago that I had started, because it honestly had been 17 years that we lived in that house. And so, I mean, I don't know if I can give you 100% answer if it was like a year or 2 or not, because my life has kind of ebbed and flowed. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Things that have happened with like my family and, things like that. So, and that's again a great reason why I love doing what I do and being out of my home, is because I have that flexibility. If I want to take on more clients, I can. If I want to cut back, I can. So
how has it been transitioning from Idaho to Utah and trying to get this business up and rolling again?
It's been interesting. Everybody and their dog does hair here.
Okay.
Or
Good to know.
In their home. Yeah. So honestly, the technology has been huge. We have a Facebook page in our neighborhood, and we have a Facebook page through our ward at church. And there's actually, in the city I live in, which is Harriman, there's a Harriman Facebook page. And so I posted on all of those, and I have gotten lots and lots and lots of response from that just through social media.
Okay.
I would say right now I probably do, I would say anywhere between 3 and 6 to 8 clients a week, maybe on a good week. This week I have 3 appointments scheduled is all. So it just it's going to take time, and I know that.
Yeah. But that's still, I think that's still great, especially considering how saturated it is and how many people are doing it. I know it's a kind of a popular thing for girls to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you're right. I think that people will start to come to you and they'll see your passion and how much you love it, and they'll love their experience. And so, of course, they're gonna come back. So I just want to leave our listeners with any thought from you. If there's a girl out there that's just kind of struggling, really passionate about hair, really loves to just fix her hair, fix her friend's hair, is considering this option, what sort of advice would you give to them? I don't know. What would you say?
Um, One thing that I would recommend is if you're kind of on the fence, you're not quite sure this is something you want to do, go find, if you know somebody that does hair, go and shadow them for a day. See what it's all about, because there are things that some people love and things that some people don't like about this industry. Um, check out the beauty schools. I believe that you can even go and sit in on one of their classes and see how, if that's a good fit for you. It's all about just kind of being a little proactive and checking it out yourself. I had a couple of cute gals back in Idaho that wanted to go to beauty school, and the one gal came and shadowed me for a couple hours and saw what I was doing and really, really was very interested and liked it. And she actually ended up going to school. So I just think it's just kind of going and watching and seeing.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. All right. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today just to give us a better feel for it. I know it's one of those really fun career options. There's a lot of girls out there that are interested. I know that one of my girls' friends that's over here all the time, she just wants to like fix everyone's hair. And we're like, you should really look into this. This might be an awesome option for you. I know it's scary for women to think about starting their own business, especially doing it out of their own home. It's scary. The thought of failure is just scary. And so I think it's nice to reach out and to see those women who have just really put a lot into it, have made it work, and I think don't regret 1 minute of it. So super
Yeah.
happy for you, super excited for your time today. And we will close there. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thanks, Chelsea.